Hello everyone, this is ponderonweather. In this update, we're going to be talking about multiple storm systems with flash flooding and an upcoming cool down towards the end of July as we go into the first week of August. So if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it. Let's first of all take a look at the 500 millibar of the North American view. You can definitely see we've got two troughs up here north of Canada. That's some cold air building. Down to the south here, away from that ridge, that's going to be our storm track for the next several days. While down to the deep south, we have what they call easterly flow. That's going to be allowing, as the ridge backs away, that's going to allow taking advantage of these higher dew points down to the south and create these showers and thunderstorm development, isolated and scattered over the next several days, as the monsoon will continue to remain active. As we transition up to the north, you can take a look. This is going to be the culprit of our upcoming cool down as we head towards the end of July, going into the first week of August. Here's some of the temperatures. Well, to the north, here's Winnipeg. So this is all the way up north of Canada. There's Greenland. But we've got 30s showing up. You can actually see some of that colder air already trying to push further south, because if we take a look at the latest teleconnections, we find ourselves with a negative AO, a negative Arctic oscillation. You can see July 26, it starts to turn negative right now, and it actually remains negative through the end of July, going into the first week of August, as well as the EPO, which is your Eastern Pacific oscillation. That also turns negative as well. With those two driving force, that's going to pull some cooler air down into the eastern part of the US, and that'll eventually filter all the way down into the south. Again, with these two teleconnections continuing to remain negative for an extended period of time. So that's going to allow that flow to keep pressing southward. At the same time, we have on the other side, in our west, we've got the PNA, which is our Pacific North American. That's going to go positive. And unfortunately, yes, I know if you guys live in the Northwest, that's the last thing you want to hear. The ridge is going to be starting to build again. The Western Pacific oscillation also turns positive. So that's a combination of as the ridge will start to build into the Northwest again, heating up and allow that colder conditions on the eastern side to filter all the way down, eventually down to the south. So let's take a look at this. So if we extend the view going into the end of the month on that same 500 millibar, you can see with that driving force of the negative EPO, we've got those troughs digging a little bit further south, taking advantage that you'll see some much cooler conditions for much of New England by the time we get into the end of the month, while the ridge will start to build into the Northwest, getting into parts of Alaska as well. But as we transition into that Tuesday time frame, if you're with me the last couple of days, it looked like it was going to more or less stop into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast, but that's got legs with that stronger push of cooler air, with those teleconnections continuing to remain negative. That's going to allow that trough to dig all the way further south into the southeast, and it'll eventually get what they call backdoor front, all the way down to all the way down into Texas again. So you're going to be seeing another cold front in Texas starting in August, probably by Monday timeframe. This colder air will start entering North Texas and cool you down as we start August. As you look, man, the ridge starts to really start to build over to the Northwest and start to have those well above average anomalies in Alaska and much of Canada here, and much of the Northwest as well. So as we go into that Friday timeframe, August the 6th, with those teleconnections continuing to remain negative, that active flow will also keep pouring the colder air down to the south. So that will create, this is a more or less unsettled weather pattern, a cooler weather pattern. And as we transition into that Friday timeframe, that ridge will start to just keep building further, amplifying this flow all the way down to Texas. So let's take you back where we are now. So man, it's hot. It's no question. I mean, with that ridge building, we got heat advisories from Montana all the way down to the deep south. So this is a dangerously hot day with high temperatures well into the triple digits and heat indexes well into the 105, 110 range in some of these places as well. So part of the culprit of that is your higher dew points. So when you're looking at temperatures of dew points of 72, 75, upwards to, mid to upper 70s, that is a soupy air mass. And that's why you're having some of those higher heat advisories down to the south. But that's also showing that there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere as well. So with that easterly flow, yes, your heat index is going to be high, but the temperature will remain somewhat subdued with the cooler conditions, with those rain showers kind of moving in. So if we take a look at the high resolution model for the next 18 hours, we find ourselves, here's that invest that will continue to press further inland. That creates the easterly flow, but also as we take advantage of that daytime heating, that'll generate showers and thunderstorms starting to bubble up in that type of atmosphere, getting all the way into Texas again as that ridge will start to shift away. As that ridge starts to shift away, that will allow isolated thunderstorms to development to pop up in that type of environment. And actually North Texas is technically uncapped today. So you could see, just going for about a 20 to 30%, but a lot of this type atmosphere could the storms actually create more storms and produce outflow boundaries that spread out ahead of it, that have the overturning that creates those more widespread activities. So don't be surprised if you see a little bit more activity versus that 20 or 30% in North Texas today. So, but yeah, the monsoon will continue to remain active, but not as intense as what they've been dealing with over the last several days. So it's going to start to come down a little bit, but to the north, that's where we're going to be having along that boundary. That's where we're going to have to see some of that severe weather later on this afternoon into parts of Wisconsin here, into Michigan, well up into the upstate New York, getting into New England with those storm chances. And in fact, the Storm Prediction Center right along that boundary again highlights that severe threat as we go into later on this afternoon into Minneapolis, Buffalo, St. Paul, Rochester, into Syracuse. These areas will be under the gun for that damaging winds. Some could include hail with that colder air aloft. You see it pulling down. And so, yes, you could see some of those stronger activity as we go into the afternoon hours, and that'll even go all the way down into Detroit, getting into Milwaukee. Yes, even Boston will be included in that action as well. So right along this boundary here, you'll have to be concerned for some of those storms to turn severe. But tomorrow, I think it really amplifies even further as the trough will dig a little bit further south. You have that what they call compressional heating. And man, this could really start to kind of expand where that ridge is going to start to dominate over the central plains. That is going to help feed some of the heat up in the upper levels and may actually help intensify some of these storms as that trough will dig down to the south. So some of these could be enhanced and severe tomorrow in Appleton, going into parts of Wisconsin here. Some of this bullseye and along Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Green Bay, Milwaukee again could see some of those stronger thunderstorms, large hail, damaging winds. And yes, with that rotation possibly in the atmosphere, this could be a tornado setup, unfortunately, as well, and onto the day on that Wednesday time frame. So as we go into that Thursday, there's the boundary again, all the way down. That'll filter down. I think the severe threat will come down a little bit, but still you'll have that instability right along that boundary as the ridge will start to somewhat come back, into North Texas as the easterly flow will start to fade a little bit, and you just have kind of scattered activity in the Four Corners regions, trying to reach up into Nevada, trying to reach up into Idaho as well, with some of that scattered activity to the south of that boundary. But we look to the north, there's that cold front that we're going to be talking about. That's going to be a major player, and there's an even more intense cold front back behind it, which I showed you with those colder conditions well to the north. Look at the temperatures as we go through Friday, as the ridge will start to build back into Texas. That shuts off the taps in the short term. The ridge will start to build into the northwest. Man, I know you guys need a break in Washington. Unfortunately, it's not coming, so I don't see much rain for you guys. And I see you really start to really heat up in a big way as that ridge will start to come back with 104s, 102, even 109s in places. Yeah, showing up on the day on Friday as we go through the end of the month. But yeah, there's that cold front to the northeast. There's those much cooler conditions, nicer conditions, almost fall-like conditions. Well, these are highs in the 70s for much of the Northeast coming up on, the day on Friday. As we end the month in July on Saturday, the ridge will be dominating over much of the Central Plains. Widespread hundreds in Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, probably your hottest temperature of the season so far in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, ending at 103. Again, with that compressional heating ahead of a cold front that's going to be coming probably in the day on Monday as you really start to, again, stay warm and hot over much of Washington and parts of the Northwest. So as we go to that Sunday time frame, expanding back to the North American view, man, that's the positive P&A right here. The ridge will start to build over Alaska, over northwest Canada, northwest parts. We try to get that active monsoon filtering a little bit further south, so that's going to be a battle here. To the north, you're going to be seeing some of those extreme temperatures, and to the south, you're going to have a little bit cooler conditions off the eastern side of Oregon and the south side of Idaho coming up on the day as we start August 1st. But look at the cold fronts. This is kind of a 1-2 punch. Here's the initial surge pushing south as we go through the day on Sunday, and we have a reinforcing shot back behind it that will continue moving south. And where that cold front is, that's going to create that lift. That's the overrunning condition, so it's going to create around us showers and thunderstorms along that cold front as it continues pressing southward as we go through the day on a Sunday. As we go to Monday, you can see that cold front start to enter Oklahoma. This will start to enter North Texas probably sometime in the afternoon. So those triple-digit temperatures go away. We got cooler conditions coming in as the clouds come in, as the rain comes back. That'll drop the temperatures below 100 degrees. And definitely some much cooler conditions back behind it as that unsettled weather pattern will start to filter in all the way down along that boundary. There's the cold front on Monday. It'll probably be over Oklahoma, getting into North Texas, all the way down to the southeast again. Yes, guys, we're talking August 2nd. We're talking another cold front because the EPO goes negative. Yes, this is really happening as this continues to press southward as we go through the day on Monday. There's that Tuesday time frame. Yeah, much of North Texas is going to be experiencing some of that cooler conditions. Now, granted, this is August. We're not talking cold or anything like that. The average high is 97 degrees. So we're talking possibly low 90s, mid 90s coming back. At least the triple digits will not be in the picture with that unsettled weather pattern filtering in all the way down into the southeast. So this will be unsettled as the ridge will start to amplify over the northwest and really start to deepen as the intense heat will come back, unfortunately, for much of the northwest. There's where the cold front is. Where the cold front is, that's creating that unsettled conditions with those at least rain showers and that type of environment going all the way down to the deep south again. As you look out here in the Pacific, yes, we could be talking about another tropical storm developing with that active storm track. So they've actually probably seen 3 or 4 storms on the Pacific side as we go into Wednesday. Yes, that cold front with the backdoor cold front will continue to remain unsettled. The cooler, cloudy conditions will filter in all the way down to the deep south. The ridge will build back into the monsoon will start to subside even more. California heats up, Oregon heats up, Washington heats up further, Alaska, yeah, so the dominating ridge will be much over the northwest. there's the instability by the time we get into that Wednesday time frame, August the 4th. Again, more unsettled weather, cooler conditions, not triple digit conditions. Yes, the heat advisory, the heat index could be high because a lot of these dew points could be high. But yeah, it continues to remain active in the Pacific. But as we go into beyond that point, I mean, this enhanced MJO phase that's been over the Pacific, that's produced some of those 3 or 4 storms that will start to shift into the Atlantic side. At the same time, if we're seeing cold fronts again going all the way down to the south, you always have to watch, just like what happened with that little invest here. With these cold fronts dipping all the way down to the south, we got to watch these tails of fronts again. And if with more of an enhanced version of the MJO this time, we got to be able to look for a little bit more conducive tropical development with these tails of fronts as we go beyond this time frame, going into that August time frame. So that's something I'm going to be looking out for, you know, in the extended range. So man, I know there was a lot to go over this morning, so I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to leave your comments below, and I appreciate you guys following this channel. Definitely stay with me where I continue to protect you before and after storm.